The Constitution of the New Republic. The U.S. under the Articles of Confederation. The Articles: one House, one legislator, unicameral, no executive, no separate judiciary. Very problematic. Foreign problems. British angry at U.S. for failing to restore land to loyalists and not paying debt, so British remain hostile. The economic weaknesses and interstate quarrels. Congress can't tax, so can't repay debt. States compete for economic advantage, no cooperation. Boundary disputes. Trade restriction between states. The Annapolis Convention, 1766. 5 out of the 13 states come to discuss problems with the Articles. Alexander Hamilton and James Madison plan a bigger meeting in Philadelphia. Drafting the Constitution in Philadelphia. The goal was to revise the Articles. All but Rhode Island show up because Rhode Island doesn't trust the other states. The delegates were 55 rich white men, and most of them had a college education. George Washington was unanimously elected the chairperson from his war victories and everything. James Madison was considered the father of the Constitution, and he was charged with fashioning specific articles. Others that were charged with fashioning specific articles were Alexander Hamilton, Gouverneur Morris, John Dixon. Patrick Henry, on the other hand, refused to participate in any growth of federal power. The issues. Do we need to revise the Articles or start all over? There were strong nationalists that were Federalists versus those afraid of tyranny, which were anti-Federalists. Representation. The Virginia plan versus the New Jersey plan. So this is all about compromise. So the winner was Connecticut plan, the Great Compromise, 2-house legislature. Slavery. North versus South. The compromise, 3/5. Out of every 5 slaves, 3 is a real person, according to the law. Trade. North versus South. Commercial compromise. Congress can regulate trade, but prohibited taxes on imports. Presidential power. Chief executive with considerable power, but 4-year term and no limit on the terms. Ratification. 9 out of 13 approval rate. Required for ratification. Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Federalists supported the Constitution and were mainly from large eastern cities, believed that a strong government is needed to maintain order, emphasize weaknesses of articles. They had a strong, well-organized leadership. The Anti-Federalists, on the other hand, were against the Constitution, mostly from small farms on the western frontier. They believed that strong central government would destroy the work of the Revolution. So they limited democracy and individual rights. Poorly organized. The individual rights were not limited, but just the democracy was. The Federalist Papers presented reasons for believing in the practicality of each major provision of the Constitution. James Madison, Alex Hamilton, and John Jay were main writers. Outcome. Fairly quick ratification after Federalists promised to add Bill of Rights. Problem. New York and Virginia, biggest states, not among ratifiers. If they failed to ratify, national unity and strength would be in jeopardy. Virginia, Madison and George Washington rally support. New York, Alex Hamilton does the same. Adding a Bill of Rights. Arguments for a Bill of Rights, led by Anti-Federalists. Revolution was fought to escape tyranny. Only Bill of Rights would protect Americans from tyranny. Arguments against the Bill of Rights, led by Federalists. Congregation and President elected by the people, so no need for a Bill of Rights. The people did not need to be protected from themselves. Better to assume all rights are protected rather than provide a limited list of rights. Federalists back off to appease Anti-Federalists. The first 10 amendments. Bill of Rights. Political, partisan, unforeseen, debacle. I have no clue what that means. Origins. Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Organized across state lines. Not a national movement. The Federalist era. Presidents George Washington and John Adams. The leaders, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson. Anti-Federalists became Democratic Republicans. Divide solidifies during the French Revolution when Federalists are going to neutrality while the Democratic Republicans are the pro-French. Impressment, the British kidnapping of American sailors forced into the British Navy. Washington's farewell address, a speech with enormous influence due to George Washington's prestige, serves as a warning to the Americas not to get involved in European affairs and not to make permanent alliances in foreign affairs. To avoid political parties too late. Is it too late? I don't know. To avoid sectionalism too late? I don't know. George Washington's departure sets two-term presidency, which limits the most important thing. His presidency is a little bit limited. The most important thing is unity. Why did George Washington so strongly push for an end to political parties? If there are political parties against each other, it is not unified. Unity is what George Washington believes is the most important. John Adams' presidency, tainted from the start by a 3 electoral vote victory against TJ, who originally the Constitution made the second place candidate the vice president, which was changed by 1804. The XYZ affair. XYZ were 3 French ministers that requested bribes in order to stop French seizure of American merchant ships. Many call for war. Federalists led by Alexander Hamilton in response to incident. Adams resists call for war, said U.S. Army not yet strong enough for a war with major world power. The Alien and Sedition Acts, inspired by the Americans angered at the XYZ affair. Naturalization Act increased from 5 to 15 years, required for immigrants to qualify as U.S. citizens. Alien Acts allows president to deport any alien considered dangerous. Sedition Acts makes it legal for newspapers to criticize the president. John Adams' presidency started out poorly. People view him as scared. The acts that he passes make him look like a dictator, and looks as if it's pointing to a way like how it was back in Britain, which is not what the people want. The Kentucky and Virginia resolutions by Thomas Jefferson and Madison, questioning the authority of the national government. Content: declared the states entered into a compact informing the national government, and if the national government broke that compact, which with an unjust law, the state could nullify that law. Alien and Sedition Acts. End of the crisis due to expiration of the Aliens and Sedition. Supreme Court under John Marshall claims it has authority to decide constitutionality of a law. Judicial review established in Marbury v. Madison. Election of 1800. Context: Adams loses popularity under Alien and Sedition Acts. He runs for president but did not get in. Election results: Democratic Republicans nominate with 2 candidates, Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr. Both received the same number of electoral votes. Special elections in House must break the tie. House elects Thomas Jefferson under direction of Alexander Hamilton, who believed Burr to be too dangerous with an immoral character. A peaceful revolution. Passing of the power from one political party to another accomplished without violence. The Revolution of 1800.